ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here we are seeing in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in this chapter, calculation of time from the atom. In these last verses, how big is this material manifestation is being described, and who is the source of this complete material manifestation as Mahavishnu is also being described. And finally it is concluded that this Mahavishnu originally is in Vaikuntha Lok, and temporarily he appears in Mahat Tattva for this temporary manifestation, where he lies down in causal ocean, and from his breathing millions of these universes are coming out. So that is what is being explained, and we will try to understand that. So in the 41st verse, the vastness of this one universe itself is described. The layers of elements covering the universes are each 10 times thicker than the one before, and all the universes clustered together appear like atoms in a huge combination. So Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that how, suppose, as it was said earlier, that if the size of universe is considered to be, say, 4 billion miles, then if this is the size of the universe, the size of the covering of the universe is bigger than the size of the universe. So Prabhupada is saying, if the universe is 4 billion miles in size, then the size of earthly covering of the universe is 4 billion times 10. So suppose this is the size of the universe. 10 times the size of this universe is the size of earthly covering itself. The whole universe is covered by 5 layers. The first layer is 10 times bigger than the size of the universe. Diameter of the universe is the size of the universe. 10 times than that is the size of earthly covering. 10 times of that is next covering, water covering, then air covering, then fire covering, and then finally ether covering. So this is the vastness of one single universe itself. And then together Prabhupada is saying, if you compare this universe in front of the covering, what is the size of the universe, how it looks like. So Prabhupada is saying, the universe within the covering of matter appears to be like an atom in comparison to the coverings. Covering is bigger than the universe itself. In comparison to the covering, the universe appears like a small atom. That is how the one single universe is described. And let us say somebody has somehow or other is able to figure out the coverings, which is very difficult, which is practically not possible. When we saw Brahmaji was trying to figure out how vast is this covering, all those things, and he was not able to figure out anything. So Prabhupada is saying, if somebody is able to figure out the vastness of this covering, he will not be able to estimate the number of these universes. You see? So for Prabhupada is saying, the universe within the coverings of matter appears to be like an atom in comparison to the coverings, and the number of universes is unknown even to those who can estimate the coverings of the universes. Even if somebody can estimate the covering of the universes, the number of universes is unknown even to them. So first of all, we are seeing that even Brahma could not estimate the coverings. So where is the question of estimating how many number of universes are there, how many number of universes are coming out from the pores of Mahavishnu? It is unlimited. No one can estimate that. So this is the vastness of this universe. Brahma, in 8th chapter we saw, when he was trying to estimate the length and breadth, it is explained there that Brahmaji was completely perplexed. When he wanted to find out the vastness of this universe, what is this universe, where is the origin, where it is emanated from, so he was completely perplexed. So very beautifully that perplexity is described in the 8th chapter, which we had already covered earlier. We'll just read it once and see how Brahmaji was completely perplexed. Tasmad yuganta swashana avagruhuna jala urmi chokrat salilat virudham upashritaha kanjam lokatattvam na atmanam adha avidhat adidevaha. This Adideva, the original person in this universe, the original demigod, Brahma, Yugantam, till the end of the millennium, he tried to figure out what is this origin. So in the translation, Prabhupada is saying, Lord Brahma, situated in that lotus, could not perfectly understand the creation, the lotus, or himself. So he could not understand what is this creation, his origin, the lotus, or himself, for what purpose, where did I come from, he had no idea. And this is not for few years, this is after contemplation for 1 millennium. At the end of the millennium, the air of devastation began to move the water and the lotus in a circular way. So this is till the end of millennium, he is being trying to understand, and he was still perplexed, still he could not figure out. So Prabhupada is saying in the purport, Lord Brahma was perplexed about his creation, the lotus and the world, even though he tried to understand them for 1 millennium. So where he was created from, his creation, the lotus, where this lotus came into existence, and the world, this manifestation itself, he was not able to understand even for 1 millennium, which is beyond calculation in solar years of human beings. So what is the conclusion Prabhupada is saying? This is very important. In that purport, Prabhupada is comparing Brahma. For 1 millennium, he tried to understand his creation, the lotus and the material manifestation. So Prabhupada is concluding, no one can therefore know the mystery of creation and cosmic manifestation by mental speculation. You see, no one can. Because Brahmaji tried with his mental speculation for millennium and he was still unable to know. So just imagine, where is the question of scientists trying to understand this vastness of this material creation? It is not possible. So, now let us try to understand that how we saw in the previous class that Brahmaji was later on able to understand Atma Tattvam, everything. He was able to see the real form of the Lord. He was able to see the Vaikuntha Lokas, and he was able to understand the creation. How to create, all those things were revealed to him only when he performed devotional service. After being guided by the Lord, when the Lord saw that Brahma tried for many years together and he is not able to understand, and when Brahmaji became completely frustrated, then the Lord mercifully guided him that he should perform devotional austerities. Then it will be possible for him to understand. So then Brahmaji was able to understand all these truths. He got factual realization of the form of the Lord, of Vaikuntha Lokas, and what work he is supposed to do, how he has to create. All that knowledge was revealed to him. So this is a very important factor which Krishna, not only to Brahma but even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains the method to find out the mystery of this world, the method to find out the mystery of the spiritual world is only through spiritual process, not by any kind of mental process, not by intellectual process. It is not possible. Arjuna was also similarly in perplexity. That also we saw in Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna raises him from that perplexity. When Arjuna was in perplexity, he also tried himself to solve that perplexity. And there Prabhupada compares these perplexities which Arjuna was in, the perplexity which Brahma was in, all these perplexities cannot be solved on material platform. That is the sum and substance we have to understand. Arjuna tried to solve it on material platform, he failed. Correct? What does he say finally? Karpanya dosho upahat svabhava prachhami tvam dharma sammuda cheta. Right? He very clearly says, my dear Lord, now I am in a fix. I do not know what should be done, what should not be done. Because of the miserly weakness, I am not able to understand. Now what do? I submit to you, I surrender to you, I become your disciple. Now you guide me. So, it is very clear that Arjuna admits that by any kind of method, even by gaining the different kinds of Swarga Lokas, even by getting kingdoms which are unrivaled, he cannot solve his perplexity. Arjuna came to that conclusion. Here also Brahma finally came to that conclusion. With my mental speculation, I will not be able to understand this reality. And then the Lord guided him, similar to Arjuna who was guided by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita. So, one very important point to understand spiritual reality, which we have to convince to people and which we should also become convinced, is that by any of these mental faculties, any of matter. By matter, you cannot understand spirit. What is mind? Mind is also matter. What is intelligence? Intelligence is also matter. Which verse in Bhagavad Gita says that this is all matter? Bhumirapo nalavayu khama mana buddhi revacha. Krishna is very clearly saying, mana, buddhi, these are all my segregated, separated, inferior energy. So how can one understand superior energy with the help of inferior energy? There is no possibility. Mind cannot understand spirit. Intelligence cannot comprehend spirit. That is why Krishna is called Adhokshaja. Adhokrit Jnanam iti Adhokshaja. One who cannot be one whom we cannot comprehend with this, any of the material senses, whether it is material senses, whether it is mind, whether it is, we cannot comprehend. Just imagine, suppose, think like this. Suppose you are confined in one room. You are confined in one room. You are locked in one room and you are given one windows to look outside. Can you see the reality outside the window? What is the reality you can see maximum? What is the reality you can see? Only what you can see from the windows. Right? Suppose you are confined inside this room and I am telling you, you try to see the reality outside. What reality you can see? Only the reality which your senses, which your eyes can permit beyond this window, that's all. Can you see from outside this window, can you see what is happening in remote part of India? Cannot know. Can you understand there are many other countries? You will not be able to understand. Just imagine. So, similarly, what we should understand is, the soul is conditioned in this body. This body is also like a room. The difference is, here you have got 5 windows. You see? Whether you have got 1 window or whether you get 5 windows, still you cannot understand the vastness outside this room, sitting inside the room, only looking through the windows. You cannot understand. Correct? What are the 5 windows we have got? Five knowledge acquiring senses. So we can acquire knowledge only through these 5 senses, only through these 5 windows. Soul is actually confined. Where does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita, soul is confined in this body? So first of all, Krishna brings up this very important point. Because until and unless we understand that actually the soul is confined in this body, he is conditioned. With conditioning, he cannot know reality. Till that time, we will only try to figure out, we will only try with our limited intelligence, with our limited mind, we will try to find out who is God, where is God, isn't it? What is the purpose of creation? All these things we will only try to figure out with our limited intelligence. But once we know this reality, that is what Krishna is trying to tell. The moment Arjuna surrendered, Krishna brings him to that platform. Krishna tries to bring him to that platform that Arjuna, why you are not able to solve this perplexity is because you are trying to solve it on material platform. The soul is now conditioned in this body, conditioned by senses, conditioned by mind, conditioned by intelligence, and within that you are trying to solve. It is not possible. You have to solve it on spiritual level. Then it is possible. So, which verses in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna first brings him to the point of making him understand that you are not matter. You are above this matter. Krishna brings in the concept of avinashi. Tat vidhi yena sarvam idam tatam. Krishna says, very logically you can understand that which is present throughout the body. That which is present throughout the body is non-destructible. You cannot destroy it. Now what is that spread throughout the whole body? Consciousness. Correct? We can feel consciousness in our hand, in our leg, everywhere we can feel the consciousness. So Krishna is bringing that point that which is spread throughout the body, the consciousness, it is avinashi, it cannot be destroyed. Then what does next Krishna brings into picture? Let us say you understand that which is spread throughout the whole body, it cannot be destroyed. Then Krishna brings into picture, this consciousness is not coming from matter. This consciousness is coming from Dehina, occupier of this matter. Somebody has occupied this body, who is spreading his consciousness throughout the body. From him that consciousness is coming. And when that consciousness is spread through the body, it is conditioned. The soul is not able to get the real knowledge because of the 5 windows which it has got, which it is conditioned in this body. Then Krishna is explaining, but logically you can understand that Dehina is moving from one body to another. And then Krishna is giving example, from childhood body, that soul has moved to youth body. That we can see where is our childhood body, it is finished, gone. From youth body it will go to old age body. Similarly, at the point of death, this matter will be left behind, this body will be left behind, soul will go to another body. It will become conditioned in another body. So this is what Krishna is trying to bring home the point. That avinashi consciousness is coming from the soul, but somehow or other it is conditioned in this body. With that conditioning, you cannot understand the reality. How you have to understand the reality? Then Krishna tells Arjuna, tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti tad jnanam jnanina tattvadarshina. You just have to approach a spiritual master, surrender to him, hear from him the reality. He can give you the reality because he has seen the reality. See? So this is the process. So that we can understand very clearly that how with these limited senses, which is actually nothing but matter, mind is matter, intelligence is matter, how much ever we may use our mind, how much ever we may use our intelligence, with matter you cannot understand spirit. You cannot understand what is spirit. So this is a very important point which Krishna brings out in Bhagavad Gita, that it is possible only when you surrender to the spiritual master, hear from him, serve him, then we can understand the spiritual reality. Similarly, Brahmas also we find, Brahma was also instructed by his spiritual master. In his case, the spiritual master is the Lord himself, because there was no one else to surrender to. So for him, the spiritual master is Supreme Lord. When he guided him by his hearing from the spiritual master, taking his instruction, following his instruction, then he was able to understand the reality. So the vastness of this matter itself cannot be understood by the mind or intelligence. Where is the question of understanding spiritual reality? By this material mind. So Prabhupada, in the last verse, of this chapter, he is concluding by saying that the cause of this insignificant temporary material creation, which looks so vast to us, which even Brahma could not find out, the vastness of this, vastness of temporary material manifestation, it could not find out. You see, Prabhupada, he describes what is this material manifestation. It is dream of Mahavishnu. You see, what is this material manifestation? It is actually nothing but a dream. Of course, dream of Mahavishnu is also reality. Dream of Mahavishnu is not like our dream. But imagine, what is this material creation? It is just a dream of Mahavishnu. The dream of Mahavishnu itself, Brahmaji could not find out. In that dream, that small manifestation of that one universe itself, Brahma could not find out. What we can find out about the dream of Mahavishnu. And then Prabhupada is saying, what is that Mahavishnu? Mahavishnu appears in Mahatattva only temporarily. Only temporarily. You see? Mahatattva is nothing but a one small insignificant portion of the whole spiritual reality. Just like Prabhupada gives the example, what is that Mahatattva? Suppose spiritual sky is there, in one corner there is some cloud. That cloud is Mahatattva. In that the Lord appears temporarily, lies down temporarily in his Yoga Nidra. And there he dreams. That dream is this full cosmic manifestation. And what is that? The Lord is only lying temporarily in that. So actually the reality is, Prabhupada is saying, the reality is, this Mahavishnu originally is in Vaikuntha Loka, in his original form. Only temporarily he comes to that Mahatattva for doing some work. What is that work? For dreaming, for the living entities. That yes, okay, you all want to enjoy, I will go temporarily to this Mahatattva and I will dream. In that dream, you all enter, all the living entities enter and try to enjoy falsely. What is the reality? The reality is that this Mahavishnu is actually in Vaikuntha Loka. And all these Vaikuntha Lokas are insignificant part of the real spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, where Krishna, the original personality, is residing. So Prabhupada is saying that finally in the purport, he is a plenary portion of Lord Krishna, and though he is non-different from Lord Krishna, his formal appearance in the material world as incarnation is temporary. The original form of personality of Godhead is actually the Swarupa or real form, and eternally he resides in Vaikuntha, Vishnu Loka. You see, this Mahavishnu in his original form as Vishnu resides in Vishnu Loka or Vaikuntha Loka. And his real manifestation is Lord Krishna, who is called Parama, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. He is the cause of even Mahavishnu. He is the cause of all Vaikuntha planets. He is the cause of this insignificant temporary material manifestation, which is just a dream of Mahavishnu. The original cause of all this is Krishna. So that is what finally we are brought to. Eternal time was described, big times were described, time of Brahma was described, isn't it? And finally we find out what is the time of Brahma. It is Nimisha. It is just a second of breathing of Mahavishnu. So actually we can just understand the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are bewildered by this temporary greatness of something in this material world, and we become attached to that greatness. Oh, so great this person is, isn't it? We become attached to some insignificant reality, shadow of reality. Just imagine how much more we should become attracted to that Supreme Personality, whose manifestations are bewildering even great personalities like Brahma. See, how much more great is that personality. That is what we should become attracted to, and that is what Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is pointing out, that gradually we have to move to that reality. So we'll stop with this Granthra. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.